Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Hey, if I made a deal with you and you had the rights to South Park and I said, hey, look, here's $500 million. That's what you said you wanted. Give me the exclusive rights to put that on my streaming service. And you'd be like, hey, okay, just make sure you got the 500 million. And I'd be like Warner Brothers. And I'd say, sure, here's $500 million. Let me have those exclusive rights. Paramount says, thanks, does the deal. And then Paramount says, oh, well, actually, after we cash the check, we've got a couple of these specials. They're not really episodes of South Park, but they're like specials. And we're not going to give you those. But what we'll do is we'll put them on our own streaming service so that when you're spending $500 million for content, old content and new content based on South Park, we won't give you the new stuff. We'll just put that on our own streaming service and directly compete with you. That's what's going on between Paramount and Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers ain't happy, and they haven't won yet in court. This case has been going on for a couple of years now, and I've been covering it on this channel. But it is going to go to trial. And I don't know how they don't just settle this and get out of the case because, look, yes, there was some contract language that was not 100% black and white. And sometimes when contract language isn't completely clear, you can do some things between the lines and get away with it. But this is really extreme. This was, no, we're not going to give you these new episodes because we're going to call these things specials. If it's a special, you're not entitled to it. If we called it an episode, though, yeah, you would be entitled to it. After you got a $500 million exclusive deal for this? Yes, Paramount was actually willing to do that, and that's why Warner Brothers is suing them. From The Hollywood Reporter, South Park streaming rights standoff. Warner Brothers Discovery wins ruling clearing the way for a trial. The summary judgment ruling opens the door to Discovery on Paramount's understanding of its deal with Warner Brothers and possibly Paramount's viewership and subscriber metrics as they relate to the series. Discovery is a very important thing. Having access to Discovery can sometimes get a lawsuit completely settled. Why? Because it can be very embarrassing. It can show all kinds of things you wouldn't want people to see. It's communications, it's records, it's texts, it's everything you could possibly imagine related to the subject of the lawsuit. So if I sue you because I gave you $500 million and you didn't give me what you said you were going to give me in return, and the lawsuit goes the way this one's going, I'm going to have access to all your communications with all the people you were working with. And if you've been in the background there just trying to make a scheme to plan to take a episode and turn it into a special and then not release any episodes so that you had the exclusive specials and there's any kind of correspondence, anything in writing that would prove that happened, it looks really bad. And that's why winning the right to Discovery on the lawsuit alone or any lawsuit alone can be very significant with these kinds of claims. Paramount must face some claims in a lawsuit from Warner Brothers, accusing it of setting in motion a breach of a $500 million licensing deal for the exclusive rights to South Park, according to a court. And let's keep in mind, this is exclusive. It's not non-exclusive. Sometimes shows are done on a non-exclusive basis so you can be on more than one platform. Maybe this deal should have been for a non-exclusive basis. They wouldn't have gotten $500 million. They would have gotten less money, but then both of the studios could have used them for their streaming services. And it would also have been understood that not all the content produced necessarily is going to go into this arrangement. But that's not what Paramount did. That's not what they sold to Warner Brothers. And that's why they're getting sued. After a pricey bidding war for the new episodes of the massively popular show, Justice Margaret Chan of State Supreme Court in Manhattan said that Paramount may have actively convinced the joint venture it operates with the show's creators to breach its contract with Warner Brothers, which wasn't offered the opportunity to stream episodes labeled as specials that were considered outside the scope of the deal. Paramount may have unjustly benefited, Chan said, in a ruling issued on Tuesday, by getting to carry the content and reap any advertisers, subscribers, and other profits resulting from the streaming of those episodes, all without going through the same bidding process as everyone else. Even the story alone of the South Park deal getting done, the bidding process, it was a very aggressive bidding process. Other streaming services wanted access to this content. Warner Brothers wound up being the highest bidder. It was the most important to them and they had the cash for it, so they made a deal for $500 million to acquire exclusive rights to South Park episodes old and current and new. And these specials got excluded from the deal. That was Paramount's doing. And now they have to explain themselves. The ruling opens the door to discovery on Paramount's understanding of its deal with Warner Brothers and whether the company took fraudulent measures to take advantage of ambiguity in the contract. Evidence that the company may have to turn over could include viewership data as well as subscriber and profitability metrics, since Warner Brothers could elect to seek disgorgement of profits. Because if Paramount did something that they should not have done, and honestly, it really feels like they did, but if it's found by a jury that they did that, they may have to give up all the profits and benefits received from that. That's what disgorgement is. The legal battle, initiated by Warner Brothers in 2023, revolves around a lucrative licensing deal for the exclusive streaming rights to the series library and 30 new episodes across seasons 24 to 26. Warner Brothers claimed that Paramount and South Park Digital Studios, controlled in part by creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker, conspired to effectively double deal on content allegedly contemplated in the agreement by diverting series specials to Paramount Plus to prop up its then fledgling streaming platform. The deal didn't specify how many episodes would be delivered to Warner Brothers as part of the agreement or how to decide that content was part of seasons 24 to 26. There were plans to draft a full contract to iron out the details, but South Park Studios allegedly convinced Warner Brothers not to. Warner Brothers has maintained that it was told that 3 new seasons of 10 episodes each would be made. And this is a good business example about doing business with people even if you have a good feeling about them or everyone's excited about it. You really do have to outline the details. It's hard to believe that someone could write a check for $500 million and there could be any kind of misunderstanding about who gets what when someone spends that kind of money. And whether this was an opportunity that the South Park guys saw, that Paramount saw, and they thought that technically their contract allowed it, or it was deliberately something they're doing that they say, hey, we know this is wrong, but we can get away with it. No matter what the reason, this should have been detailed and it should have been signed off on. You can't just do handshakes on deals when it's like $500 million. Sometimes it's impossible because you can't contemplate like, well, this could happen or that could happen. And then you just sit down and talk about it as time goes on. But clearly, if you're going to make a deal for 30 episodes and you're not sure how many episodes per year, you don't know really what you're doing or what the numbers are, that's a problem. And also you kind of need to define, this is an episode, this is a special, this is a movie. If there's any other format developed that's longer than 5 minutes, then that would be considered to be an episode. But if it's less than this amount of time, then we're going to count it as a discount to the episode. So you're going to owe us more content. It's not that complicated. And here's the judge's point of view. Quote, taking advantage of the contract's ambiguity, South Park Studios decided not to make 30 episodes across the 3 newest seasons and instead made specials that it, quote, unilaterally and arbitrarily decided were not contemplated in the deal, according to the judge, who noted that Paramount reaped the benefits of the decision. She continued, quote, of concern also is the back and forth by South Park Studios in fitting the COVID episodes into the final episode count for season 24. This refers to South Park Studios initially telling Warner Brothers that the specials, which were made after production of season 24, were not part of the season, but would be delivered as part of their deal regardless. How could you deliver them as part of the deal and say, we're not going to give them to you, but here's the deal. We kept this for ourselves. We competed with you because you had content that wasn't even new in comparison to what we had. You had older episodes. We had these brand new specials, which really were episodes. And then South Park says, but look, now you can stream them on your platform. Don't worry about it. Go have some fun because we've already streamed them when they were new on our platform. And as a result, that means we owe you less episodes because we've now given you specials to substitute for those episodes. No, you can't do that. I mean, that's really, really wrong-headed. The impression I'm getting from this, and it's just my general impression, is this is something the South Park guys came up with. And they are a couple of funny guys. If you've seen them in interviews, they've been very successful. They did create South Park after all. Maybe they just figured, you know what are they going to do about it? We've already got the money. The episodes are done. Let's just finish this deal and put all our new stuff on the Paramount Plus network or something like that. This is really outlandish. Okay, check out what the South Park guys did next. Over a year later, South Park Studios backtracked and decided that the episodes were part of the newest season, with the caveat that they'd count as 4 of the 10 episodes. 2 months later, South Park Studios changed its mind again and decided that the specials would be the only episodes for the season. Quote, there's an ambiguous contract that is silent on vital details according to the judge, such as how to decide what is considered as part of seasons 24 to 26 and whether Warner Brothers can pursue disgorgement of profits against Paramount, a third party to the deal. She added, quote, Paramount didn't receive third-party fees in the abstract, but instead profited from subscribers who wanted to watch the specials. That money, the judge said, would have gone to Warner Brothers if they got to carry the episodes on their service, Max. Okay, that confirms it. So the deals were basically controlled by the South Park Studios guys, and they're the ones making this problem. Other breaches of the contract include South Park Studios slashing the episode count for seasons 25 and 26 from 10 to 6 episodes, and the joint venture contracting with Paramount and MTV to produce 4 additional 50-minute long specials exclusively for streaming on Paramount+. South Park Studios considered that content not part of its deal with Warner Brothers, which wasn't given the option to stream them. At the same time, it continued to assure Warner Brothers that forthcoming episodes would be delivered according to the complaint. And this version of events is coming from Warner Brothers. Who knows what the South Park Studios guys have to say about this? We'll see in their responses and the filings, and if the discovery comes out. The ruling advanced claims of unjust enrichment and torturous interference with the contract. After discovery, Warner Brothers may have to choose which of the 2 claims it will pursue if the court decides they overlap with each other. It continues to pursue a breach of contract claim. Earlier in the legal battle, the court dismissed fair dealing and consumer protection claims. And that followed Paramount dropping its countersuit against Warner Brothers over allegedly unpaid licensing fees. When you do a deal, the deal isn't done until both sides live up to their ends of the deal. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's delivering content, like in the case of South Park. Either way, when you sign a deal, you should try to talk out as much of the situation as possible and get an understanding from both sides what everyone's expecting to have happen, and then also try to come up with a couple of contingency plans if things get a little crazy or there are other variables or other formats. It is worth talking it out. It's hard to believe that South Park Studios could be changing their formats around so much. COVID did screw up a lot of things. But ultimately, when you get into a conflict, it's best to just talk it out because you're going to hopefully do business with these people a long time into the future. And maintaining a reputation for being reasonable sometimes is more important than money because your reputation is kind of everything. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.